What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 121 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by no halves of the coolest dudes in video games. Greg is off on a secret mission right now. It's not so much a secret. He's at Judges Week. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. He's playing all the E3 games before we get to go and play them because he has 1 million Twitter followers and he's fucking Greg Miller.
That's how it is.
So we're replacing him with Sean FInnegan. Sean the Shark FInnegan.
Chomp chomp.
Chomp chomp.
Is that a thing?
That's developed
chomp,
that.
chomp. Okay. I roll with that.
Thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here. I think this is my first Gamescast.
It is.
Yes.
It actually is. This is not your first Gamescast. No. Alfredo Diaz, a.k.a. Alfredo Plays, a.k.a. I'll up in that ass. That's what I got one up right now. But I'm into it. So obviously you guys are here, which means we're going to talk a little bit about Destiny.
And
we're going to get some Xbox in there, which is a little different for this show. Because, you know, usually us, we go, oh, Mr. Nintendo over here. Then Greg's like, oh, Sony. But it's just like, here we got Alfredo, like, oh, Xbox.
We're bringing in a little bit of the other juice.
I mean, lately, you've been more PC lately than anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll definitely get into that. How you guys been?
Super good, man. It's been really busy as we ramp up to E3. We got Kind of Funny Live right around the corner. I don't have anything to do with that, but I'm very excited for y'all.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. And for those that don't know, Sean FInnegan from IGN. You can find him on Fireteam Chat, the Destiny podcast, the #1 Destiny podcast. I don't know that to be true.
Oh, Fireteam
Is that true?
Chat.
You know, it was at one point. I don't know if it is. I think we're going to call that, we'll have to call an audible on that one.
Well, call an audible. The #1, maybe 2 Destiny podcast.
It's up there.
And Alfredo, you can find you on Twitch. Alfredo Plays, YouTube,
I just
Twitter,
do the Twitch thing.
all that stuff.
Funnily enough, like I co-host Fireteam Chat now with Destin and Fran and CJ Gibson, but this was a show that was founded by Alfredo Diaz.
Yeah, co-founded.
So you may know him from way back in the day.
Back in no.
I don't think he made those shirts back in the day. Yeah.
I left before the whole logo came in. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I was one of the few people that played Destiny in the vanilla times and was like, ooh, we should talk about this as a podcast. We're still playing this.
Yeah.
And they're like,
And then they added all that other shit, and here you go. Now they're the #2.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, Destiny, the community, the game, it grew so much over time. I don't think anyone really had an expectation for it to become as big as it did. Yeah. So our show, your show, kind of grew with that, and here we are. We have a nice little niche and a great little community, and we do a weekly show, and it's a lot of fun for the players who still play that game.
Hell yeah. If you didn't know, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together and talk about video games and all the things you love about them. If you want to get it early, you can get it on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. And if you want to get it late, guess what, Alfredo?
You have the opportunity to.
You do. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You want to get it on time? We haven't figured that part out yet, but hey, we're working on it.
But you've got some options.
You got some options.
Really
you got some fun options. Yeah. Let's get right into it. This episode, Patreon producer Tom Bach, shout out to you, the homie, the man, the myth, the legend. He's a great dude. Destiny 2. We finally got to see the gameplay reveal of it today. Huh? Hell yeah, man. What's up with Yoshi's Island? So we saw the Destiny 2 gameplay reveal. It was down in LA. We didn't get to go there ourselves. Greg Miller, because he's at Judges Week, he got to play it. You guys sent down Fran and CJ. The rest of the Fireteam Chat, Destin. Yeah,
Fran, CJ, Brian Malkowitz, and Destin are all down there, and they're being assisted by some of our LA team. It's a big thing for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, they finally took the top off. Like, we've known Destiny 2 was coming for a really long time. I don't think anyone had any hang-ups about it. It was more just like, okay, is it this year, 2017, or is it going to get pushed to 2018? And
that was a big thing where I feel like a lot of people were shocked that it was confirmed to be this year.
I was one of them. I, many times on Fireteam Chat, thought that a September or even holiday 2017 release felt super early to me because, you know, up until a couple of weeks ago when we got our first teaser trailer of Destiny 2 with the release date and that Activision's earning call where they said that the team at Bungie was on track to have a 2017 release, we were all still playing Rise of Iron, and it just seemed kind of outlandish that it would release this year.
Did you have faith?
I did. I mean, in terms of like Destiny, it just felt like the original Destiny didn't have much else going for it, and we already reached the point where they vamped the old raids. So I just felt like, okay, one, I knew they were already working on Destiny, you know, 2, and in that case, I was like, I think with like Activision, they're going to be trying to push out that
trying to get that holiday
sequel out
stuff
pretty
going
quick.
on.
Yeah,
especially with the holidays. That's lacking a Halo game.
Yep.
You know, to compete against. Not necessarily that they are in the same caliber, but with the history of Bungie and all that. Like, I'm sure that has something to do with it.
It's really important to note that Activision does see Destiny as one of their new core pillars of their business. Like, they refer to it as part of their core business alongside Call of Duty, especially when considering the fact that this last year for Call of Duty 2016, you saw that game again. It was still the best-selling game of the year, but the numbers came in a little bit lower than prior iterations. And I think they know that maybe that audience is feeling a little.
It's like COD fatigue.
Yeah, it's a little COD fatigue. We've gotten one every single year since 2007.
Yeah. And then you had Battlefield come out big dick swinging, taking it back. You know
Battlefield
what I mean?
1 was awesome.
Yeah.
What's you guys read on? Not to go on too much of a tangent, but what's the read on World War II?
I'm happy
in
to go
general,
back.
like the historical event. I guess it was great. I mean, we kind of, glad we got involved. And
are you stoked for COD?
I mean, honestly, I've said this multiple times. Like, I am a huge Modern Warfare 1 and 2 guy, and I literally haven't played I haven't played a Call of Duty game since those two. So, but I must have put, 500, 800 hours between the two of the first one. So I would call myself a big COD guy, but that was literally 10 years ago at this point. So I think it's really interesting that two totally separate development teams came to the idea that, hey, we should go back to World War II independently of one another. And now they're both going back there. And that seems to have struck a chord with the audience.
Well, what do you mean both going back there? Who?
Like Battlefield 1 came...
with World War 1. God, you're just saying going back instead of going to the future.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, not even just Call of Duty having fatigue amongst its audience, but like... I think gamers in general
pushing towards the future.
Yeah, there was like how many games in
Advanced
a row
Warfare.
did
Infinite Warfare.
I remember we used to make fun over at the office, like, Call of Duty's eventually going to be in space. That's going to be hilarious.
And then it
last
totally
year it was
was,
like, it's in space. We're like, oh shit, we
And,
reached that point.
Those games always hit like a really cinematic, high polish, but I do think people were a little fatigued, and not just Call of Duty fans, but just general of future space shooters. And I think both companies kind of thought independently of one another, hey, maybe the next one should go back to World War I or World War II, and that'll be fresh. And lo and behold, it kind of feels that way.
Well,
for
I mean, during
the
their conference, it said a million times, like, boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think they
yeah.
understand that, like, people are just sick of, like, Call of Duty jetpacking around and everything, and they want a more grounded one. And that's what they're giving people.
So going back to Destiny, because I don't want to get too far away from all of this. So a couple of the big announcements. Crucible is now 4v4 for all modes. They're going to make trials, raids, and the Nightfall available to all players, which they're doing with a brand new system called Guided Games that will allow players to join up with clans, even if those players aren't really that great. So you can kind of be able to jump in and help people finish the raids and all that. The PC version of Destiny 2 will be on Blizzard's Battle.net rather than Steam or another platform.
Yes.
And although the console versions appear to run at 30 frames per second, Bungie has also confirmed that they cannot talk about Destiny 2 on the Xbox Scorpio until Microsoft's E3 press conference, so we're not sure about that. And Destiny 2 will have an uncapped frame rate on PC. Other PC things include 4K resolution support at 3820 by 2160. The uncapped frame rate, full mouse and keyboard support with custom key mapping, text chat, adjustable field of view, detailed PC setting screen, and 21.9 monitor support.
Which is basically like, this is how you expect PC games to run in the modern day.
Exactly, but a lot of times they don't. So it's...
No. And that's the one thing I wanted. I was like, all right, Bungie, you're going to come out and tell me there's going to be a PC version of Destiny 2. I was like, this has got to be a non-shitty, like, just whatever port that they toss in there, and they have to take their time with it. And I think there's rumors going around right now that the PC version might not come out at launch.
Day and date.
Yeah, and that's because they want it. They talked about how they just want it to be like the best possible, like a solid PC port, and I'm behind that. Like I don't want to have issues with like matchmaking with parties or just I remember, I think it was the latest Call of Duty when they did the remastered. I played it on PC, and it was like when you go to adjust like just in the menus, it was so limited. You're adjusting your menus from like 0 to 10 instead of like 1.0, 1.1 free sensitivity, and I was like, this is a totally terrible PC port.
Yeah.
I think port carries a kind of negative connotation in games. When you say like it's a ported version, it's like some other team took the game and just like recoded some stuff and put it on a new platform without giving it much thought. And I don't think that that's what the Bungie team is doing with this. And I think that might have some reason. It gives some credence to this rumor that it'll have a staggered release for PC, which is that they're really giving a ton of focus to the development and feature set that the PC version is going to have. Like you mentioned a bunch of the sort of core elements of what that PC version is going to have, but like I think they're really focused on making this the best possible experience for PC enthusiasts, because this is a game that should have and arguably was made for that platform in the first place.
Yeah, the fact that the FPS is uncapped, and then there's people taking screenshots from the event of like the setting, like the graphic settings and stuff, and seeing that you can go with the pretty much standard stuff like foliage and motion blur and all that. You can adjust everything. I'm like, okay, they're really thinking about like what do the hardcore PC players want out of Destiny 2, and that's what they want, right? They want to be able to run that in 4K if they're beasts of a PC can run it. They want to be able to
ultra wide.
They want to be able to do all those different things. So
it's going to be an interesting thing. I was in the control room producing the IGN presentation of Bungie's live stream, and James Duggan from IGN was doing graphics. He's a big PC guy for me, and the announcement that this PC version was not only real but happening and doing so in coordination with Blizzard was a huge thing for him. He was wigging out because this shows that Blizzard has a legacy of great competitive multiplayer games, and they have a platform and a system by which those games and communities can really expand, like we're talking about Battle.net here. To have a company like that come into the fold and say, hey, we support Destiny, and not just like tangentially like, hey, we can support this game, but we support it enough to bring it onto our own platform, something that has like a tried and true launcher with a great security feature set and activation stuff. Like,
I think the biggest thing is that like Blizzard doesn't fuck around when it comes to their anti-cheat system.
Yeah.
Like we've experienced that with like multiple games, and specifically Overwatch as of late. So I know a lot of people are like, well, or even the people that play PC games are like, hey, if you're gonna bring this over to the PC, like you have to have a really solid anti-cheat, because PC players will break the shit out of Destiny. Like they will. So the fact that it's on Battle.net, I don't know, I feel pretty secure about playing Trials or maybe going for World's First during a raid, thinking like, all right, Blizzard's like anti-cheat client is behind, making sure this is a fair like game. So.
And then another announcement was that Bungie's saying Destiny 2 will launch with new strikes, PvP modes, and just one raid. You'll get 3 weapon slots that are more flexible than Destiny 1's, called Kinetic, Energy, and Power. It sounds like you'll be able to shuffle your weapons around and use the same types of weapons in multiple spots this time. What's that got to do for you guys?
I mean, that sounds like more awesome stuff to me, right? Yeah. Like one of the things that year one Destiny players like us kind of always thought would be cool when they expanded was like, we have primary, secondary, and special and sort of heavy weapons, and it would be cool to like, let's get a 4th weapon type in there, or like where the SMGs, where like we have machine guns and rocket launchers, and then there are some specialty weapons like Sleeper Simulant, which is a fusion rifle, which is normally a special weapon, but you use it as a heavy. There's kind of interesting weapon types like that, but we want, we saw rocket launchers, we saw little like pellet guns,
we saw SMGs.
Yeah, like it seems like a much more expansive arsenal, and for people like us and people who play Destiny a lot, like collecting these guns, trying them all out, figuring out which ones are the best, like that's the game. And so to see more of that in the game is just that's
what you want out of
heart.
Destiny.
Yeah, right.
Like you want it to be a giant carrot at the end of that stick, you know what I mean? That you're just chasing
or
down.
a million little carrots on a million little sticks. 'Cause that's what it basically is, yeah.
Do you think launching with one raid's enough?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because you got to remember,
it's huge.
There's also going to be like a brand new campaign, brand new cinematic campaign, and one of the other big features was they announced 4 new zones, 4 new major zones. Right, we have Titan, we have Nessus, we have Io, which are planetoids/planets or moons in our solar system, and then they announced the EDZ, which is the European Dead Zone, which is, according to their Vidoc,
twice as big
as any space that they've put in the game currently, and the spaces that are in the game currently are really, really big and beautiful, but they're not quite as explorable as we had hoped.
Yeah, and
there was
you
this
kind of get
expectation
caught in this whole like traveling in a circle.
Yeah, like there was an expectation that it'd be open world, and it wasn't quite open world, and that was one of the complaints that was levied against the game at its launch that stands to this day. If the European Dead Zone is as big and explorable as they're making it seem like it is, this is going to be a huge amount of content, so many activities and quests and NPCs and enemies to go out and conquer. Between that and the campaign, campaign. Between that and the raid, I think one raid is enough, considering how complex and difficult the raids are.
Yeah, as long as you make the raid dynamic and replayable, you're gonna be totally fine with one raid at launch, to be honest. And it's not like we won't have another raid during whatever other expansion that we get. So like, eventually we'll see more raids and bigger opportunities, but to have one raid at launch is more than enough.
And they talked about it during the stream. Vault of Glass, the first raid that launched with Destiny 1, 50% of the player base got into the raid. I'll bet you even lower percentage finished the raid, and then I'll bet you subsequent raids for like in Dark Below and in Wrath of the Machine and in Taken King, King's Fall, I'll bet you even lower percentages completed those. So it's like they're introducing tools to kind of get players together to complete more of the raids, but I still think that like the answer isn't more raids because you're already not getting enough of your players in there.
I think, I mean, even right now, a big thing in like the Twitch Destiny directory is people Sherpa, just being a Sherpa towards like newbies, right? Whether it be Trials of Osiris or doing a raid. So just give them that system. You need to give people more reasons to stay in the game. You know what I mean? Like instead of going out to third-party sites to look for to LFG or to look at the lore, like put that into the game.
Oh man, I've been saying that for years. Like one of the reasons I love kind of a related topic here, like people criticize Destiny 1 for not having a great story, and it doesn't in terms of the campaign, but there's a lot of really interesting characters and story elements that exist outside in the Grimoire.
Yeah.
The lore is amazing in that universe, but the problem is you have to go outside of the game and onto the internet, either via your phone or a laptop to read those Grimoire cards, and it's like, the reason I love Mass Effect was because it does that, but it's all in the codex. You could press start and just read it. Do that in Destiny. Why can't you do that?
And I probably will get this lore wrong because it's been a while since I've read it. But like the two big exotic, you know what I mean, like hand cannons. Like one was called the Last Word, the other one was called the Thorn. And like these were like everyone used these weapons. Everyone sought after these weapons. Like these were exotic like hand pistols, and they did great in like every aspect, like multiplayer and whatnot. And there's a whole lore behind it that like
no one knows.
The one killed the other or whatnot. I'm like, what? This is fucking awesome. Why is this not in the game? Why do I have to like learn about this 6 months down the line? No, it's in like a site somewhere else.
But the good thing is like, I think Bungie learned a lot of lessons from year one, and this is a franchise that they've planned to go on for 10 years, and I think like you're going to see a lot of evolution happen during that time.
I mean, we're way past year one at this point. So like, when Destiny first launched, I mean, it was kind of seen as a bad game. Like when it first launched,
not bad.
But compared to Bungie's
that's the
kind
thing,
of,
people were expecting.
I mean, it
the
was
next Halo.
All right, it was getting like 7s and 8s when everyone's like, this needs to be a 9 and 10 game.
To be fair, 7s and 8s on the internet is like your thing is crap,
and that's
which is not true.
Bad's not the right word to use, but I think that it had a bad launch.
It definitely didn't live up to expectations.
Horrible word of mouth, and I'll never forget seeing you play it for the first time, and you just being like, oh, it's not Halo. And it was just like, oh, but you're like, you thought it was tight gameplay wise and you were into all that, but you just playing the game, you're like, oh man, like this is empty. Like there's not much here. And as they kept adding
grew
to
out of
it,
that mindset and grew into the more, because like I've never personally experienced it, you know what I mean? Like, sure, you have like Borderlands where you have like the loot shooters and whatnot, but like a game where it's just like, well, you have raids? Like that's an experience I've never experienced on console before in my entire life. Like I never played WoW like my girlfriend Jackie did or anything like that. So for me, I was just like,
so many hours.
I was like,
WoW.
what is this whole like you know me, and like Sean and I are like, we love competitive shooters. Like our main squeeze is being in that PvP arena. But like when they introduced the whole raid system, I was like, what is this PvE?
Oh, it's awesome,
like, what is this? And I was all about it.
Challenging PvE content in Destiny is amazing.
So over the last 2 years, they've kind of fleshed out the Destiny experience with all the expansions and all that. And overall, like people seem to really like it. And it's kind of the opposite reaction of vanilla, where people are like, oh shit, Destiny is really good. And the more people put into it, the more that they get out of it.
Yeah.
And with Destiny 2 launching, do you think that it's going to be not only a great jumping on point for new people, but do you think that they have learned enough that it's going to launch and be awesome?
Yeah, I believe so.
I have full faith in Bungie that, it's hard to say, right? I think that Bungie's learned a lot from the prior years of Destiny. But the jaded gamer in me is like, well, you don't learn everything, and sometimes things go wrong. And who knows if they're up against the clock when it comes to the development cycle. Again, it still seems soon that they'd be launching this September. But I have full confidence in them. The game is great now. They know what the strengths and the weaknesses of Destiny 1 were before. So if all goes to plan, they should be able to execute in a way that Destiny 2 comes out with a big bang and continues to move that momentum into the future.
My thing is that I fully believe that it's going to come out. Destiny 2 is going to come out. It's going to be a great game. I just don't know how great it's going to be, because as much as I get hyped about anything new content in terms of Destiny, I always think back to myself, Bungie's really good about getting really excited about content.
Mm-hmm.
Did we forget about Crota and how lackluster that was?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've launched expansions. Granted, it's gotten better over time, but they have launched expansions that just seemed like the most awesome thing in the world that were completely just empty and lackluster.
And a lot of gamers who were burned by Destiny 1 will point to the original gameplay reveal when they showed this big open world on Earth, and they were like, drop in, drop out co-op. That mountain over there, yeah, you can drive to it. And they said that on stream, and that is not at all in the game. And so people rightfully felt burned by that, but I think Bungie has learned to control the expectations, because now they know the type of fan base they're dealing with and how rabid we are, in order to not make mistakes like that, not promise things that may not come to fruition.
So we got a couple questions from the audience here.
Yep.
I want to see what you guys think about it. Well, first off, from Number Wonder, how did you get being on the Destiny 2 reveal today, Alfredo?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even. So here's the thing. So they were talking about and showing all kinds of gameplay and whatnot, and then they bring on the next presentations about social, and Jack and I were all right, this is our time to catch up on social media and shit. And then all of a sudden, Greg tweets at me. And it's oh, my boy Fredo. And I was like, what? What is this? He's at the Destiny event. I don't understand. I'm what this means. I'm thinking, I start going all over Twitter thinking I start paying attention to the screen thinking oh my God, they're going to announce cross saves between PC and PS4. Oh my God, I'm going to shit my pants. And then everyone started tweeting that,
I tweeted it too.
I had a picture, Sean did too as well. This giant picture and just me going, I don't even know how they found that picture. It was a picture at E3. I think it was, when I was doing with you guys, the E3 kind of funny
E3
stuff.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's just a photo of you with three Guardians.
Cosplaying, Warlock, Titan, Hunter, and I'm just fuck yes. And it was up there.
It's fucking awesome.
You were up there for a second, and I was like, is that Fredo? And Duggan's that was 100% Fredo.
That was cool. I don't know how they got that photo, but it was fucking awesome.
Hell yeah, man. All right. Cabalar Lynch says, what feature do you want most from Destiny 2 that hasn't been revealed yet?
You're going to say frames, right? But it's kind of been revealed. We know from the PC. We know the PC.
I'm playing on PC, and they've pretty much so far announced everything that I want.
Yeah.
For me, it's a bunch of just little things. I watch my girlfriend Jackie play WoW. She does hardcore raiding too and all that, and they have so many little features and different.
There's pandas.
Yeah, there's pandas too. She hates the pandas.
What?
Hated. No, she hates the pandas though. No, but they have so many different features, and WoW's been doing it since the dawn of time, so they got the whole MMO structure down. So I would just peppered in just little just features that give it a more of an MMO feel. And one of the things that they talked about was that big open world where you can go around and collect missions from people and whatnot. And I was like, okay, give me more of that, where I feel it's a grander, bigger scale thing that I'm doing here.
The feature that I still want to see revealed is kind of already in the game, but they just haven't made great use of it, which is vehicle integration, both in PvP and in PvP. Did I say PvP twice? Mm-hmm. PvE and PvP. At Destiny's launch, we had vehicles, but they were sparsely sort of integrated in PvP. There was one map on the moon, that really big one, I forget what it's even called, where vehicles were integrated, but they weren't balanced very well, and people didn't like using them because in some situations they felt way too strong, and then in other situations they felt way too weak. It was kind of crazy. And then besides your Sparrow to traverse the overworld, which by the end of the game you're not really doing much of anyway, there was 1 or 2 strikes where you would jump on, what are those? They're like the fallen.
They shoot the little
sparrows,
bombs
but
and stuff like that.
Yeah, I forget. What
I
they're
never
called.
rode those.
But
Spikes?
yeah, I forget what they're called. I don't know. But that's the point. It's like no one ever rides them. Pikes. There you go. Yeah.
Nailed it.
There's just not a lot of vehicle integration. And this is coming from Bungie, the developer of Halo, even though it's a different studio, a different team nowadays, where Halo is the trifecta of first-person shooter gameplay. It does guns, grenades, and vehicles all incredibly well. It feels great and balanced. And it's like to have one of those things not be in Destiny kind of just takes a little bit of the fun away from it. I imagine how much more complex the raids and PvP could be if it was required that, okay, 4 of your raid, they're dealing with ads while your tank, or 2 of you are in a tank and you're DPSing the boss, or vice versa.
I remember
that stuff would be so cool.
Before the Taken King DLC came out, like when I was just with me and my raid squad, we were like, man, it'd be so cool if we had to like just like fly through like caverns and try not to die on like our sparrows and stuff. I was like, that'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, or like what if part of the raid was like you defeat a boss and then he destroys the place you're in and you have to sparrow race your way out like SRL style.
It would
like
be fucking awesome.
That would be awesome. I mean, one of my favorite levels of all time in any game ever is the last level of Halo 3 where you have to drive along this big sort of
Oh, yes.
like the whole level is crashing down around you.
You're on the Warthogs, just fucking going, the floor is falling underneath you, and you have to make that jump.
Away, and your enemies are flying, and like it's this long level, and it's intense, man. Like that is what Destiny misses in terms of vehicles. Is there are no moments like that at all in the game, and it could benefit so much from them because the world is beautifully designed, and I want to jump on vehicles and I want that experience, but it's just not been implemented in the right way.
The setup's there. There's footage of like a tank. We don't know if we could actually get into the tank. There's no footage of us piloting.
It's funny because the Guardians run by the tank as if it was on their team. So I wonder if it's like a player piloted tank.
See.
Like that would be so cool.
Grant Wilson says, do you think lost sectors will be the route to getting exotics in the game other than raids, or skill-based, or are they still based on RNG? Also, what are your main classes?
Let's start there. Titan.
Hunter.
It's easy.
Okay. I played the hell out of Hunter, but they nerfed the
shit
out of Hunters.
Yeah, but Hunters are so cool. They look cool.
Oh, they're so cool.
The cloak, man. They make
we got nerfed
cool.
to shit.
Like Titans, I love the Titan class, but I have to wear a bath towel for a mark, so that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look cool.
No, so like each class has a specific like class item, I guess. Artifact, yeah.
Well, they have class specific artifacts and items. Yeah.
Yes. So Hunters have like a cape, right? The Titans have like a little sash.
They get their like E-Honda on.
Yeah, they have like a little sash. Okay.
Yeah, some of them are like right down the middle, and those are the worst.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're the best items. Oh, it sucks.
So yeah, well, I get this cool ass cape. He gets like a little
Warlocks get like a
towel
bond,
on the
like
front.
an arm strap. It looks really cool.
So, do you think Lost Sector will be the way to get exotics?
So we don't know a lot about lost sectors or even what it is, but I imagine every other way. Like you can get exotics doing basically anything.
They're gonna give you multiple ways to get exotics.
Yeah, so I'll bet you the short answer is yes.
Be one of the
Lost Sector
many.
will probably have some exotics tied to it. Lost sectors. What I'm really hoping is that like lost sectors are areas or places that have like a puzzle on the inside of it. Remember, did you play Wrath of the Machine?
Yeah.
Where there's that hidden exotic within the puzzle where you have to decode the binary and stuff.
Oh,
and it took weeks for people to figure that out. No one even knew it was there. Bungie didn't say like, hey, there's a puzzle here. They just kind of let people feel it out. And they were just like, eventually players who played it enough times were like, there's something weird going on here.
Essentially there was like a chest behind like these 6 laser grids. And you just
no one knew
slowly
how to get
unlock
to it.
those too.
Yeah, and then you had to end up decoding binary, and it took a bunch of people coordinating across the world in order to figure it out.
Dude, I thought I had something to do with a giant blue light room that looked so fucking awesome. I was like, we gotta I spent so many hours trying to coordinate 6 people to stand on different lights.
Well, you're going through this raid, you're activating terminals, and then you get to the end and you're like, well, what are all those terminals for? And it took weeks for people to finally figure it out, but when you did, it rewarded you with this awesome exotic. And I think that I would love those type of puzzles to exist at the core of Lost
peppered
Sectors.
into the dungeons and stuff like that.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
For sure.
And then if they just don't even tell you what it is. So let you figure it out.
Let us figure it out. It'd be great. More things. I mean, because that's what the Destiny community likes, right? They're like getting in there, they're like doing their strikes, they're doing their raids, but they will eat up the lore. They'll eat up any type of like mystery puzzle you got going on. So if you could pepper that in, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, they did talk about how there's a lot of secret areas and whatnot.
Yeah, and I mean, even now there are a lot
cool.
of secrets. Like there's, the PvE, the definitive PvE sniper is this weapon called Black Spindle, the exotic.
That was a secret mission.
And
that
that's
came
a
around
secret
every
mission.
once in a while.
Yeah, and people did it for weeks before they realized, like, wait, if during this, when this strike is the featured strike, if you go a different path and you complete this section of the strike that you wouldn't normally do under a certain amount of time, which was like, I think it was 10 minutes, and that chunk is hard.
It's difficult.
Hard.
It is difficult.
You get this awesome weapon, which is basically the year 2 version of Black Hammer, which is the original weapon. I would love to see more of that stuff tied to Lost Sectors, and I think we will see it.
Hell yeah. Alex Van Aken, my dude, says, I really want Bungie to double down on exploration by creating a non-segmented world. In your opinion, what should we expect in that regard?
That's a tough one, right? So, when you're driving from one section of like Venus to another, there's always like you're driving with your Guardians and all of a sudden like you go through one section and like your Guardian disappears because he's going through an instance and so are you, and then you both appear again.
You stop and freeze on your Sparrow for a second while it loads.
Yeah, it's like loading and then you're back into the world again. I don't know. I mean, I think the reality of like I'm no game developer, so it's difficult for me to explain or to even like illustrate why that stuff has to be in the game. But I imagine it's just like with how much detail and size and textures that are in the world. Like I don't know if you can make a non-segmented world. Like if you could make a Destiny world that was like the size of, or if like one of the zones of Destiny was as big as Breath of the Wild. Like all of Hyrule and Breath of the Wild.
It's ambitious.
It would be awesome, but Breath of the Wild, like, they have to tone down the textures and the detail and the resolution, and they do so masterfully because it fits into a particular art style, which still makes the game look beautiful. But from a technical perspective, like, that's what you have to do in order to get that world working all as one level. Just looking at how beautifully designed and detailed the world is in Destiny right now, I don't know that it's technically possible, but I am not a game developer.
You could work upwards, right? Where you can essentially build for the specs of a PC or a Scorpio or PS4 Pro or whatnot, and then just kind of downscale it from there.
The other thing is I'm currently producing this month's IGN First, which is Darksiders 3. I don't know if you guys are into that, but it's a beloved sort of cult classic favorite franchise, a Zelda-like. One of the developers talks a lot about this new technology that they're using. I guess it's not maybe that new, but games have been using it for a while, but they've really streamlined it, and it's called level streaming, where based on where your character is in an open world, the game knows where you're going and loads that next section of the map into the game's memory before you get there. So while you're technically loading into a new zone, you never go on a loading screen. And that might be one strategy by which the Destiny team creates a faux sense of an open world. And that would be awesome.
I hope it's better than how it was in Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. You ever play that?
No.
They were like, oh, this is...
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that was like the first one that was...
The last good Tony Hawk was 2.
Oh, we're not even going to go down that path right now. I fucking hate you so damn much right
Tony
now.
Hawk 2 is the greatest Tony Hawk.
I love Tony Hawk 2, but it is simply not at all.
What's better than Tony Hawk 2 and Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk 4, I think, is more of a complete package.
Is that
from a gameplay perspective?
That's the PS2 one, right? The first PS2 one?
The second PS2 one.
Oh, okay.
3 was also on. Adding the revert, it just the moveset was perfect. Perfected in 4.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but it didn't have Kareem
point
Campbell.
is, America. Yeah,
I like the soundtrack
did?
too.
Yeah.
I
didn't
fucked
play
with
it,
that.
so I don't know.
I hate you. American Wasteland was the first game. It was a launch title on the 360, but then it was also on the PS2.
Oh wait, is that the one that like had the board with it?
No, that was Ride. That one
Okay.
fucking sucks. That's garbage.
Yeah, I don't play any of that shit.
But American Wasteland, it took place in LA in the 80s, and it was the first one where it was one giant open world. But it was such bullshit because it really wasn't. There was these like tunnels you'd go through to get to the other sections, and that was just hiding the loading.
Right.
And,
Mass Effect
it's like
elevators.
the elevators and stuff. So it's like, we're seeing some better examples of it now with
I mean,
what
did you
you're
ever
talking
see?
about. But.
Well, did you also see? Did you ever play Skate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't remember.
Those are next gen though. Well,
But that was
now
360.
last gen. Yeah, but
Yeah.
this American Wasteland was also the gen before.
Yeah.
So it was that,
I just don't
that
remember there
middle
being,
ground between gens.
I don't remember there being loading screens in Skate. I remember it kind of being open world. Yeah.
Anyways, that's cool and exciting stuff. Now here's a big one. AKA Flip says, do you feel Destiny 2 is really Destiny 1.5?
So I kind of get where some people are coming from with that. My whole stance on that is, what else were you expecting with Destiny 2? I mean, maybe like a hardcore MMO type feel to it, but like, I do understand, like a part of me thinks, yeah, I'm kind of getting a Destiny 1.5 because remember, it looks like we're getting a Cabal like type story with a Cabal raid, and we were promised that a while ago, and I got pushed back, and now I got shoved into Destiny 2.
I mean, okay.
Or some aspects of it, I guess.
I just think that that's such a reductive way to kind of qualify any sequel. Because so, like, what are you really saying when you say, is Destiny 1, or not even take it outside of the context of Destiny, is X game really just X 1.5? Like, what you're really getting at is, like, this isn't much of an improvement, or it's not doing enough to be considered a sequel, which is all relative anyway, right? So, like, my example would be like, does Halo 2 look drastically or play drastically different than Halo 1? No, it doesn't.
But I'd argue that like Halo 2 had the online factor that really changed things.
Okay, but I mean, just as an example, right? Like, yeah, that's a valid argument, right? Especially because Halo 2, like, is the game that basically innovated Xbox Live. But any other game with sequels, you could make the argument that all of them feel closely related and that the sequels do the core of what the initial game does, but more of it, or in different ways, or better implementations. And if that's a bad thing to you, then I don't know really what you're looking for when it comes to a sequel. So the long and short of it is, no, I don't think Destiny 2 looks like Destiny 1.5. I think it does a lot of new, awesome things that improve on the first game, that make it fully worth my time and money as a fully fledged sequel.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, I think Destiny 2 feels like a Destiny 2. Like I said, I still understand where they're coming from. Maybe they wanted different character classes.
People talking about HUDs a lot.
You know what I
it's
mean?
just like, oh, it all, like, the HUD looks the same. Which
Your car dashboard looks the same. Are you not going to buy a new car after 20 years? Like,
Well,
it doesn't
car
make sense. That doesn't,
different.
like, it just,
Not a good example. The
but
worst
like-
example. But no, I feel what you're saying.
every dashboard has like meters on it or a way to read speed and stuff.
but
Like,
now-
it doesn't.
Battery indicator and mine doesn't.
Okay, but he drives a hybrid, so.
Yeah, I know. He's got a new car. I have an old car.
Whatever.
I just want more out of the gameplay.
That's dumb.
Like,
Yeah.
HUD or not, like, it doesn't matter to me. I just want more variety in terms of game, like what I'm actually doing from moment to moment than I did in Destiny 1.
Noah Friskop says, what subclass are you looking forward to using the most? I might switch from the Warlock Master Race because of that sexy Titan shield.
I mean, the Warlock subclass looks awesome too.
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America, dude. So I am super happy as a Titan that I get to play that class. That's super cool. It looks void-based too, based on the color.
Yeah, it does.
Which is really interesting. I'm really excited to play that because I'm a Titan, but at the same time, I cannot.
Dude, that Warlock
Yeah.
subclass looks fucking
Raining down
OP.
hellfire from the sky, like that looks awesome.
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Hunter through and through. I cannot stand the Warlock jump. Like the
Yeah,
glide.
I can't either.
It's just like Hunters can just jump and Titans can have like this
Well,
like kind of boost, and then Warlocks just.
I love the
glide.
precision of the Hunter jump. And then I love like the versatility of the Titan jump.
Yeah.
And the Warlock jump is
Warlock
just terrible.
So bad. That's the only thing that will ever keep me from going Warlock Master
Yeah,
Race is
I
that
hate-
fucking jump.
I hate the Warlock jump.
So
I also think
I'm gonna
Warlocks
stick
are
with the Hunter.
overpowered just in general, so I'll never play
Yeah,
one.
melee alone.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard a lot of things just coming from a bunch of
Like the little,
like people
like-
in the community talking about how grenades are no longer sticky grenades now in Destiny. Like you toss out somebody, it's magnetic. So like even if you toss it somewhat close to the to the vicinity, like next to them, it'll like latch onto them and then
Yeah.
blow them up and then they're dead, whatnot. Like they're toning that down.
Good, because
So
that got a little crazy.
You can't just one hit melee somebody.
And
like,
I did it
so.
too. Like Titans have if
What,
you run
what other
Sunbreaker,
choice
have
do
a
you
fusion
have?
grenade.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, it's really good because like you talk a lot about in competitive PvP called TTK, right? Time to kill.
Yep.
The lower the TTK, the more effective you are in PvP. So you default to guns and strategies that lower your TTK, right? So
Yeah.
Last Word had a really low TTK, which was why it's so strong. And fusion grenades do the same thing. You peek someone, stick them with the grenade, and you can hide
Just
again.
run right back.
Blow up, and
Yeah.
you're very effective in close quarters combat. So I'm glad that they're nerfing that because even I abused it. I used to run a Titan with Sunbreaker, which has fusion grenades, so they're sticky grenades.
Yeah.
And then I would run.
You just Titan skid around.
We're getting really inside baseball.
Would you just Titan
Say
skid
TTK
around?
one more time,
Apparently,
I fucking
Titan
dare you.
like the traditional way of Titan skating is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Titan skating?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There
like
was basically a method of jumping that allowed you to get around at max move speed,
so
way
like
faster than
rocket
everyone
jumps
else.
and shit.
Kind of, yeah.
yeah, kind of.
But I would run armamentarium, so double grenades, and then I would just run around sticking people.
And people would get upset, like, "Oh,
Yeah.
why are you running that?" But it's like,
I mean,
dude,
it is
like,
a low
It
skill
is the
build.
meta. Like, what else do you
It's the
expect?
most
Are you gonna
effective,
go into
yeah.
trials specking for like something that
You're
isn't?
gonna whine about the winning strategy? Sorry,
Yeah,
like
it is what it is, man.
Any closing words on Destiny 2, the gameplay reveal?
I mean, I'm just super excited that it's finally here. It's come at a time when I think a lot of the Destiny community, while we love the game, was a little fatigued.
Been fatigued.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought that was an awesome gameplay reveal. Like, I was smiling ear to ear throughout the whole time. I'm really, really excited about what the campaign is going to shape up like, and I just really can't wait to get my hands on it when when I think we get to play that demo or whatever all the people who are at the event now are playing at E3.
Yeah, I think Destiny 2 is going to be great, but like I said earlier, how great, I don't know. I've been burned before by Destiny content, so here's hoping that, you know, it at least releases with enough to just keep me hanging around, which I think that's what they're going to do. And I have confidence in the team knowing where to go, whether it be a good release or a bad release.
Awesome. All right, next topic. Staying in kind of the same family of games, I want to talk about Halo, specifically the future of Halo.
I'm so happy. I'm a huge Halo guy. I am maybe the world's biggest like Halo apologist / fanboy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, this should be fun. Where's your kind of status with Halo at this point?
It's been my life. Like, I mean, you know me. That was my introduction into shooters. And then from there, like, it made me who I was today. Like, I'm known for shooting games and I do well in shooters, and then all originated with Halo.
Has your interest waned at all in the franchise?
Yeah, it definitely has. I think 5 in terms of campaign was a little lackluster. I really enjoyed the multiplayer a lot. I think Halo 5's multiplayer is like the Counter-Strike for consoles, where there's no aim assist and there's a huge like hardcore learning curve, which I love about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would contest that Halo's influence as a shooter has kind of dwindled over the past couple years. Like, it used to be, like when Halo 3 released, like that sold on day one like 12 million copies. Like, it slayed.
Not on day one, over time.
Yeah, something crazy. But it broke all sorts of records, right?
Yeah, it did
You have
top
the
out.
stats here?
I have stats, yeah. Halo 3, it worldwide sold 12.1 million.
Yeah.
Now.
Which for an exclusive single console game
That's
is an absurd
huge.
number. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in 2007. So like, it's crazy, right? But Halo isn't seeing those numbers now. Also, Xbox itself is in a tough spot compared to PS4 when it comes to units out in the market. So it's on the fritz a little bit. But the game itself has never been better. The way they've evolved the speed, the way they've evolved the features.
You're talking about multiplayer.
Multiplayer.
I mean,
You can
even the
transition to
campaign.
speed. You can put that into campaign too.
Yeah, I mean, like, I criticize the campaign just like everyone because it's not interesting and it's not a good story. But what you're doing in the campaigns is a lot of fun. You're basically playing alongside Spartans the whole time. They can revive you and stuff. There's awesome, cool mechanics that work in that regard. They introduce
this whole build up between like Chief and Locke.
I know. Like I said, I'm not even talking about the
That
story.
shit lasted
You're right.
for like 2
Story
seconds,
sucks.
and all of a sudden we're like, hell
story sucks,
yeah,
dude, yeah.
Spartans.
But like, they introduced like branching paths, like multiple ways, and
Yeah.
like walls you could tear down as a Spartan. Like, you felt, and all the new Spartan abilities just felt really like updated and fast, and like you felt very powerful as a Spartan, where before you kind of felt like floaty and slow. So they did a lot of really interesting stuff to change the gameplay, and I think the gameplay has never been better. Like, I think it's the best since Halo 2.
Yep, I completely
And,
agree with that.
Because of that, like, I still play Halo multiplayer every day. Like, it's so much fun. I'm the only one in the office who now still plays it, but like, I still play all the time because it's so much fun. And it's a gun skill game. Like, it is a steep learning curve. It's hard to be good at, and that's the type of game I gravitate to. I'm a Counter-Strike guy, so.
Yep.
So look at since we were talking about numbers a little bit earlier, in terms of the franchise history, Halo 3 was its peak at 12 million. Halo 4 hit 9.8 million, so not much less.
Halo 4's good.
And then Master Chief Collection at 3.4.
Troubled launch.
Troubled launch, and
was rough.
Also,
it's a remaster. It's old games.
Yeah, it's old games.
Halo 5 at 4.7. So that's where you did see that kind of steep drop off. But what you're saying is very accurate, where there's just not as many Xbox
Also,
Ones
take a look at
at the time.
Yeah. Also, take a look at 4. What was it?
4.7.
4.7 million units sold for for an exclusive game that doesn't have Halo attached to it is still a strong sales number, right? So what did we're talking about? I'm trying to think of a Sony. What did Uncharted sell?
In that realm. I'm pretty sure some of the Uncharted hit up in the 8 realm as well, but some of them also were down in the 4. So
yeah, so when you're talking about console exclusives, if you're selling over 1 million, that's good.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you're comparing Halo's kind of decline in its influence and relevance, where it's still very big. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, it isn't the Call of Duty level, but that's because Call of Duty is on multiple. There's multiple SKUs across everything.
Yeah, that, and also just Call of Duty is it is the greatest. It is the biggest selling game in games, maybe minus
GTA.
Minecraft.
And Grand Theft Auto. But the thing with Halo as well, so then there's the other games like Halo Wars, for example. Halo Wars, the original, topped out at 2.6 million.
That's
Halo
absurd
Wars.
For that game.
Dude, people love Halo Wars. It's got a hardcore cult following.
That's a niche. That's a niche
And it
game.
plays very well for an
genre.
RTS on a console.
You were into it. Your brother was really
My brother was
into it.
super into it, and I was into it because I just want more of the
I
Halo
love
universe, you know?
So the story of Halo Wars and the cutscenes are
awesome.
really good.
Blur, man.
Yeah, Blur is great stuff.
But that is so mind-boggling to me because that's an RTS on a console. RTSs in games just in general, even on PC, aren't a big genre.
Not a big thing right now. StarCraft's trying to make a comeback, though.
Yeah, but they're always trying to make a comeback. I love StarCraft. I think in a perfect world, StarCraft 2 would be the highest viewed esport because it is the one with the highest skill cap. And it's the most difficult in terms of strategy and gameplay and stuff. It's very impenetrable. But people like accessibility, so LOL and Dota.
So with Halo Wars 2, that came out February, it was one of the more recent Xbox One exclusives that came out. It's kind of hard to say it's a big exclusive, but it does have Halo in the name. As of the end of April, so after 2 months of it happening, because it came out late February, 250K sold, which is not a failure. Good sales for the level that went into that, but it is not a huge hit.
I mean, I might qualify this as a failure. We talked about this on Podcast Unlocked, another show, which I'm kind of like the rotating chair on. This is a game that didn't really see an effective level of marketing. The first game did really, really well in terms of what it was for the franchise. You're attaching Halo to it. Your Xbox right now in the ecosystem is sore on exclusives. You would have thought that they'd put a little bit of marketing, put some TV ads out, try and get the name out there, try and get people interested in this. And you didn't really see a lot of that going out there. And I think it contributed to the game not selling all that well.
But at the end of the day, regardless of it being Halo, it's an RTS.
Yeah.
On
The
a
first one
console
sold really
too.
well.
Well, it sold well over time, though. We're only 2 months into this, and we'll see.
But
It is a
we'll
different.
see.
who's talking about Halo Wars 2 now?
No one.
No one. So that number won't go up that much.
I think back in the day, though, no one was talking about Halo Wars. It was kind of just, it was that slow crawl. I agree with you. I don't think this thing's going to be a runaway hit.
There's no way it even, in my mind, even hits
the million.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say 600,000 or 800,000 even. Maybe if it becomes a promotional tool, later on down the road, you see it on games with gold for a discounted price.
Absolutely.
Then maybe people will pick it up.
But see, that's where I think those numbers are going to start getting up there a bit more. Because that's where you see something, it's discounted. The Halo name alone is just oh, cool, I'm interested. But yeah, it being an RTS on a console, it limits the amount of people that are even interested so much.
Yeah, you can even play this on PC too, because the Xbox is a Windows thing, and it's still
yeah. So with all this said, despite the fact that arguably the quality of the games haven't declined, the
Are we talking about Halo Wars now?
Halo in general,
Halo
but going back
general?
mainly to the main franchise, Halo is on a downward slope in terms of that. Having said that, it is still the
still
biggest
huge.
exclusive that Microsoft has, Gears of War behind it, and not including like Forza and all that stuff, just because I don't know anything about that. And those games are almost annualized.
Forza
at this
is
point.
a really big franchise
Huge
for 'em, but
franchise.
not Halo status.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the future of Halo and when we think we're going to see Halo 6 and everything we know so far. So here are the facts. Earlier this year, Phil Spencer said he's incredibly proud of 2017's Xbox lineup, adding that it's going to be an interesting year for us because we don't have Gears, we don't have a Halo first-person shooter game. So he's saying we do not have either of those this year, which
Xbox needs
is huge.
exclusives.
They do.
Like
And not
bad.
having those two is rough, especially when you have a new console launching.
Honestly, at this point, I'm down for new exclusives. Like I'll always love my Gears, I'll always love my Halo, but I need new characters and new worlds to like sink my teeth into.
Okay. In a post on Reddit, 343 community manager Brian Jarrett, aka Sketch 343. You guys don't know? I don't know. Tempered fans' expectations for E3, saying that while the studio will have something at E3, it won't be tied to Halo 6. He said, quote, "I'll slip into my Dream Crusher persona for a minute in the name of realistic expectations. We've said this already, but we'll have a little something at E3, but it's not related to the next major entry in the franchise." Separately, the same dude said, he went to Reddit to squash the rumors once and for all about Halo 3 anniversary, saying, "OMG, stop. There is no Halo 3 anniversary." Okay. And then Frank O'Connor
Frank.
said on the story of it, "We very much realized that people wanted Master Chief's story in Halo 5. We definitely marketed it in a way that we had hoped was going to bring surprise, but for some fans, and certainly fans of Master Chief, it was a huge disappointment because they wanted more Chief. It wasn't that surprising to me," Connor continued, "but the volume of give us more Chief at the end of Halo 5 was significant, and so I think if anything, he's slightly more important now than he's ever been, certainly to our franchise. The focus for the franchise now will not be on bringing in new characters or expanding the number of playable characters. Instead, 343 will be making the world a little bit more realistic and compelling." Additionally, earlier this year at DICE, studio head Bonnie Ross confirmed that all future FPS Halo games will have split-screen multiplayer. Fuck yes.
Yes.
Big feature amongst the Halo hardcore. There's a lot I disagree and agree with in there. Like I don't actually necessarily think that bringing on new playable characters is a bad thing, right? Like
No.
people look at Halo 2, right? There's a big section of the game that's playable as the Arbiter, right?
I actually hated that section.
No, but-
I actually
that? I
hated
don't
a lot of
think
people
anyone
no,
has-
but, okay, maybe you guys didn't like it, and maybe it's divisive, but there are a lot of people who thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
and
A
I
lot of
thought it
people
was
thought
pretty
Raiden
cool.
was cool in Metal Gear Solid 2 as well.
I haven't played Metal Gear Solid, so
You're so fucking.
But-
you would
but-
love it.
yeah, well.
I get where Sean's
not a
coming
big,
from
like,
in the
covert
terms
guy.
of like it was cool being a Spartan next to other Spartans and expanding that universe in the sense that like sure, like I personally don't want new playable characters. Give me the Chief. Like I'm all in invested in Chief and Cortana. But yeah, I'd like to see, new Spartan characters or maybe new Covenant characters or whatnot that make a stand.
I mean, the universe that Halo has fleshed out for itself is so awesome, and I do think that there's this like wealth of characters and stuff that you could bring into the story. And yeah, some, in my opinion, like one or two more. Like again, a new playable character isn't necessarily a bad thing in my mind. I just think it's how they did Locke in Halo 5 that turned everyone off, including me. Like what ended up happening narrative-wise between Chief and Locke was not nearly as cool as everyone had
lackluster.
thought it might have been, right? Like,
Well, even then, they
There was
built
no
it up.
poncho.
They built it up to be this one
I hate
big
you.
thing between Locke and Chief, and it wasn't.
yeah,
at
so
all.
like if you were I followed
marketed it that way,
Remember
like-
like Hunt the Truth, that podcast and stuff? There was
Yeah.
all this great backstory to the intel and to Oni and to what the press outside of the military was saying about these two characters and about like the situation that Master Chief seemingly created and then
Yep.
just ejected from. It seemed like there was going to be, and even the trailers that kind of had like two different perspectives from Chief's perspective and Locke's perspective suggested that Halo 5 would delve into this misunderstanding of what the Chief's role was in all these crazy sort of engagements. And then you'd come in as the new guy on the block and have to unravel the mysteries, figure out what was fact and what was fiction, and kind of hunt down this legend of a
truth.
character. Yeah. And that sounds awesome because you know what that sounds like to me? Mass Effect 1. where you come in and you're Commander Shepard and you're the first human Spectre, and your first thing is, all right, you're the first human Spectre, we don't trust you because we don't trust humans, you guys are young and stupid according to the council, but you have to go after Saren, our longest running, most cunning and smart Spectre, and all of a sudden you're like, damn, dude, this sounds crazy. He seems like way stronger and smarter and more powerful and better connected than me. But it's my job. I got to go after him. And that story unravels in such an awesome way. And that if Halo could have done even just a part of that in Halo 5, I don't think you'd see many people complaining, and I think you'd see a greater attachment to Locke. But it didn't do that, so I think that sucks. But I don't think that you can lump in what I just said with no new characters. Obviously, we want Chief more because he was only in the game like 3 missions. But I'm not going to go all the way and say I only ever want to play Master Chief ever, because there's been times in the past, like in Halo 2, where I thought the game benefited from a different perspective.
So, okay, so that's all the story-based stuff.
Yeah.
The rest of it, do you believe it? They're saying, so a couple things to keep in mind. Halo 1, 10 years after it released, Anniversary Edition. Halo 2, 10 years after release, Anniversary Edition in Master Chief Collection. Halo 3, it's going to be 10 years this year. So the difference is we don't really need it because Master Chief Collection had it and it already gave it the upgrade to the 1080p 60. So I don't know how much more they would need to add or what it could do.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it, right? I believe they won't make one.
Yeah, I don't think they will. But I think the main reason why people are asking for one is because the Halo community is stubborn and they want to go back to that old school way of like Halo and MP and how it plays.
Plus, Halo 3 multiplayer is awesome.
So, I mean, my thing is like, I want to tend to believe what they're saying, but I feel like there has to be a Halo game. I know that there's multiple reports here saying that this year's not going to have one, but with the Scorpio launch, I just feel like that would be such a missed opportunity. Not that in history Halo's launched with consoles, both Xbox One and 360 didn't, but I think the Scorpio, they're in a different place right now. They need to fire on all cylinders.
Well, the place they're in is up against the ropes.
Exactly.
Like, I am 100% on board with you. Xbox, Microsoft, they have to come out at E3 like guns blazing, and they have to really make the case for why people are going to be interested, or why people should be interested in Scorpio. Like, they have
hardware-wise, it'll be there. It's already there.
No, yeah, I know, and they've done a good job.
But more powerful hardware is nothing without the games.
Yeah,
and they need, because right now they got Sea of Thieves, Crackdown.
Cool.
It looks cool as shit.
But
that's it. Like, that's really it.
Like I said, man,
they need something.
Like, there are games that are coming down the pipeline that look really cool, like Cuphead and stuff that don't benefit from a Scorpio treatment. And if you're trying to sell new hardware, and you've put a bunch of stock in this console, then you got to come out swinging, and that means like Halo or Gears of War. But if they said that they're not going to do that,
that's the problem. It's like,
here's the thing:
I'm okay with that, though, man. Like, how many times are we?
You're not okay with there being nothing, though, right?
No, but like, how many times as a hardcore Xbox like player do I look at like Tim or Greg and I'm completely jealous because they have this huge history of so many diverse characters with different universes and whatnot, and then I look at Xbox and I'm like, I got Gears, we had Blinks at one
Shout out
point.
to Blinks.
Fucking,
don't hate on Blinks.
Like, I don't have this like, I don't feel like I have this history with Xbox and their characters as vast or as even close to like Sony.
Okay, but Microsoft is also a lot younger than Sony in that regard. So
completely. But
it's getting to the point where it's not that much younger.
But at the same time, it's like, when do you
15
start?
15 years younger.
No.
Yeah.
What? How?
So what year was PlayStation 1 and then
PlayStation
Xbox?
1 came out in Japan in 94.
Oh, okay, so not 15 years. But like
less than 10.
Yeah. But
and
again,
if you're talking about America, like way less than 10.
Yeah, like 7 or 5 even. Because when did Xbox One?
2001.
Yeah. Xbox One, lol.
Yeah.
Original
OG
Xbox, yeah.
Whatever. I get what you're saying. And you're right, is going back to the same franchises over and over and over. There's fatigue there. However, when Xbox is in the situation it is right now, where they are like seconds and they want to be first, and they are launching a new console that is really trying to say, hey, this is why we're better than them. Come here. You need those sticking points. And not having a Gears and Halo, that sounds like a mistake to me. Now the thing is, Halo 3, I don't think they're going to do the anniversary
We
thing.
just got a Gears though.
But we did just get a Gears. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
Gears, I think is out of the.
But it might be
out of the
some
picture.
other heavy hitter. Like, here's the thing: is Microsoft is full of people who are way smarter than any of us. Like, surely if we're sitting here being like, it seems like a bad idea that they're not going to come out with a heavy hitter to launch Scorpio, then they must have thought about that 1,000 times over by now. So, yes, they may not come out with a Gears or a Halo, but they'll come out with something for sure. Now, I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. And Xbox is in a tough spot right now because, you know, they confirmed their two of their big heavy hitters aren't going to be part of this year's E3. But then also we didn't see, you know, we had Scalebound canceled, which is a bummer.
Recore,
Yeah,
just fell right in this
underperformed.
face.
But okay,
Yeah.
so taking this back to Halo though, what do we think's going to happen? So they're saying no Halo 6 at E3. The thing to keep
Said
in mind
Halo
about
something.
that, some timing, is Halo 4 was announced at E3 2011 and then came out E3 2012. Or sorry, November 2012. Halo 5 announced E3 2013, came out October 2015, so the 2 years. So going off of that, it would make sense for them to announce Halo this year if it's going to come out.
We're in a special spot, though, because I think that originally they announced Halo 5, 6, 7 as a trilogy, and then not long after they walked that back.
No.
But I do believe that they had tied story elements from 5 into 6, and that those were going to be kind of part 1 and part 2 of whatever major story for Chief going forward. And then with the reaction to Locke, I'll bet you they had to walk a lot of that back, you know, write that character out, shift the narrative, make it refocus it on Chief and Cortana, which ended up overall playing a smaller part in Halo 5. If you're talking about launching your biggest franchise and trying to make it the game that gamers want, like, you're going to take the time to make sure it is that game and not go out early and
So my
do
thing
something
is,
at E3.
totally agree with you, but I think that a CG trailer is not that hard to get done to put out and just like announce. And I know that that's not the right
that's
thing.
not going to, like, you're announcing hardware. You want to show off the hardware's power. So that
Absolutely.
means not a CG trailer. That means gameplay.
No, for sure. And I'm totally with you. But say that there is a new game coming out, like whatever their new IP is, if they were to do that, that is the Scorpio seller, you need to give them the carrot at the end of the stick of like, and you're also going to get Halo 6. Here's a preview. Like, Sony is so good about this, and people would argue it's like,
Well-
oh, I don't want to hear about games that aren't fucking real and aren't coming out.
Thank you. I mean, that's a valid thing.
It is,
It's
but there's
so
real
cool to
hype.
see. Yeah, okay. But
There's
you're-
excitement when you're playing. What Sony's doing now is, and not to make this a fucking fanboy war, but they have exclusives, and there's a whole future of exclusives that we can look at.
and that's great
And I'm very
when I
jealous
get to
about
play
that.
them when I'm 40 years old.
I mean, all right.
Like, it is so cool to hear about Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding and to see all these elements like coming into play. But man, that game is not even a game yet. Like, I think that it's a little, and I am a self-admittedly a Microsoft guy, an Xbox guy, but I own a PlayStation 4 and a PlayStation 3, and I play all the big exclusives in time. Like, it took me a long time to get to Uncharted and Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, but I played them, and I love them. But I don't like this idea of, like, you hear about 3, 4, 5 games, and it's like, wow, we have a lot of exclusives, but really in time, like, it's like you're looking at a 10-year plan as opposed to
But
a
then they
2-year
deliver
plan.
on it, though. It's not like it's just there's not
Eventually,
games now
yeah.
and it's only talking about the games in the future. Like, even the last 4 months, the exclusives.
But that's
on PS4
not
have been
exactly
killing
true. Like, I can't point to it exactly when because my
to though.
that's good, and that's always good.
I look at Xbox. I'm like, what the fuck is like? What is there for me? It's such a
I-
weird time
yeah.
to be an Xbox fan because I sit here and people ask me like almost on the daily. They're like, hey, Fredo, like, what games are you looking forward to? And I'm like, all the PlayStation exclusives when they come out eventually.
Listen, I am not going to defend Microsoft and say like what they're doing now is fine, because I'm not fine with that. I would love to know about games that are coming this year, next year that I'm really stoked for, and there are a few of them. Like, I am stoked for Crackdown, but I also don't think Sony's doing it exactly right either, because the games you're really, really hyped about are games you're going to be playing years down the road, and not always. And here's the other thing: is I wish I was an IGN editor now because I would have the knowledge to point to this, but there have been points in the PS4 life cycle when there was no exclusives
Yeah.
now or in the next 6 months to a year.
No. See, that's not right. The thing is, there
But all
have
of them
been
are way
points.
down the road.
That's not true. There have been points, and it's only been during the holiday seasons of each year, because that's when Sony backs off. And going into it, we're all like, oh man, how is PS4 going to go a holiday without an exclusive? Then they did it again. Then they did it again. It's like, what are they doing? But then it's like, oh no, that's when they're just letting the third parties shine. That's when they're going to get the COD sales and the Destiny sales and Assassin's Creed. And then we've been seeing it, like looking at this year with Neo and Nier and Horizon and just bam, 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 bam. And they just keep going. And then now we're going to get to the holiday season where we're not going to get anything.
Sucks being an Xbox gamer right now.
But I don't know.
I mean, the point
does
is,
it though? Like,
what do we have to look forward to?
like I said, I'm really
Thieves.
stoked on. Hey, don't hate.
It's gonna be awesome,
It's gonna be
but,
really
like,
cool.
It's going to be super niche. Super, super niche.
I mean, okay.
Did you play it?
At E3? Yeah, I played it.
Yeah, I played it at E3. Had a
Yeah.
great time playing it.
Yeah, it's fun.
As a fun, gimmicky experience that I'm super done with after that. It's going to be a great Let's Play game. Super fun Let's Play game.
It'll be a ton of fun to play with your friends. Again, there's some cool indies coming down the pipeline. I'm really looking forward to Cuphead. I'm really looking forward to Tacoma.
They better fucking give us a release date for Cuphead and
Yeah,
Below.
it's been so long
at
for
E3.
both of those games. But again, these are games that, like you said, they're niche games. They're indie games. They're not your AAA sellers. They're not your Death Strandings or your Halos. So that is, if that's what you want, then yeah, it might suck. But for me personally, like I like a nice mix of games that I can knock out in 1 or 2 sittings, like a Firewatch or something like that, or a Tacoma or whatever. Plus the big franchises that I hold near and dear to my heart, like the Halos and the Gears of Wars. So yeah, it kind of sucks that we don't have one of the big AAA ones coming down, minus Crackdown, which who's to know about that game? We still don't really know a lot about that game. Again, I'm not going to say we're not in a tough spot, but I'm never going to go ahead and say it sucks to be a gamer. This year's been so good for games
I'm talking
on Xbox and
specifically.
PlayStation. Yeah, but I mean, even if you like, we got Resident Evil, if you got that on Xbox and stuff, like,
But
it's
that's on
just-
multiple platforms.
That's what I'm saying is like, just because you're a little light on exclusives doesn't make it suck to be an Xbox gamer. There's always
but
good
I-
stuff
exactly.
to
But
play.
for the
Which is
first
the
time
argument
in
for
like God
PS4's
knows,
holiday.
like the first time in forever, I haven't touched my Xbox in like months
I turn on my Xbox every day, but not
to
always to play
play
games.
Halo 5.
Not always to play games though either. Like it's a great
Yeah, no, for
Netflix
sure.
console.
I mean, I need more characters. I need more exclusives. I need a reason why I should buy the Scorpio instead of just like, especially me, because I play a lot of my games on PC now. Like, what stops me from just, if it's on multiple platforms, playing it on a different platform? Like,
Oh, well, see, that's a different argument, though, is because PC is, like, definitively the best platform for games just in general. Because, yeah, technically it's, like, far superior, and it's got way better functionality than consoles in an unwalled garden, right? So if you
you're
have
right,
a
though.
PC, and the game you want to play is on PC, there's almost zero reason to play it on consoles, minus things like your friends are there for that game or whatever, right? Or like in the case of Prey, there's a game-breaking bug on PC or something like that, which they fixed. But I mean, that's like all I'm saying is it's a different argument. When you bring PC into the picture, it's
totally different.
it changes the dynamic of PS4 versus Xbox One.
Yeah.
And not that we're talking about consoles versus one another. I think all gamers benefit from competition between both companies.
That's the thing is like I own all three
Yeah.
and I love playing the big Xbox games that I like. I'm not a Gears guy. I am a Halo guy, so I enjoy playing Halo on it. But yeah, besides that, it's like I'm more in the PlayStation ecosystem, so I'd rather play over there. I played Resident Evil 7 on Xbox, but that was just a coincidental thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there is no Xbox game besides Cuphead that I'm excited for. I'm hoping they announce Ori 2.
You're not interested in the Crackdown?
Nah, not
Did you
really.
play Crackdown 1?
Yeah, a little, just a little
fun.
bit dabbled. But
I mean,
it's-
Crackdown 1 is very underrated. I think
Yep.
nowadays, people know how awesome it was, but at the time, no one was talking about Crackdown, and it was only like a year later people were like, "Dang, that Crackdown was like really good."
it's like crack.
it was like,
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
GTA superhero type feel.
So, okay, getting back to the topic at hand, Halo.
Yeah.
What are they going to do at E3? Because my bet is,
I would have said Halo Wars, but now I
Bet you
have
they'll
no
do nothing.
fucking clue.
I mean, they said they're doing something.
Oh yeah, okay.
they
So
said
Bonnie Ross,
something.
yeah. So the studio 343 is just they're always involved in Halo, and Halo is such a big part of Microsoft's DNA that they will do something, but it's not going to be a game. I'll bet you.
It could be
that-
a
that's
Halo
why it's
cinematic
interesting.
thing.
Here's my Hail Mary prediction.
Final Halo.
Remember
Finally
that
Halo
Steven
movie.
Spielberg
Yeah.
TV produced
Yeah.
Halo? I'll bet you they come out and announce that.
That's an option. I don't think that'll be it.
No, I know.
If
That's not
fucking
gonna happen, but I
Microsoft
hope
at
it
their
happens.
E3 conference talks about a goddamn TV show. It's gonna be like, guys, you just aren't freaking listening.
No.
And another hardware reveal, you're gonna double down on
I'm
the
just
TV
gonna say,
bullshit.
I just think that's what they're gonna do with Halo specifically.
Yeah.
They
So,
know
yeah.
better than anyone. Phil Spencer,
Phil
knows
Spencer
better
knows
than
what the
anyone.
fuck is
Yeah.
up. But the thing with Halo is, I think that there's a chance, and this would also be a weird decision for them to make, but that Scorpio doubles down on Oculus talk because of the Microsoft connection there.
Like a Halo S type.
And some Halo VR stuff, and like, oh, look how powerful this VR is because of the power of the Scorpio.
That could be cool.
That's an option. I think that that they could just show more HoloLens stuff, but I also think that at this point that's a little.
HoloLens doesn't demo well on stage is the thing, you know? Like,
yeah, the
I remember
Minecraft one.
a lot of, so I was in the audience at when they showed the HoloLens demo of Minecraft at E3. And it was amazing because I could literally see what she was seeing on the screen behind her and then see her physically in the same room as I am and there's nothing being there. And that's amazing. But everyone who watched on stream was like, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, because we saw
what is, you're seeing what
we
she's seeing.
saw and, yeah, but
And you're just like, so that's cool. It's a bunch of blocks.
yeah.
And you didn't get that, like, it wasn't in the space
Yeah.
that you were looking at on stream. But I mean, that's a cool thing. Like, did you guys get to try the Halo 5 HoloLens demo?
Yeah,
At
at
E3?
E3. Yeah, you did, didn't you? Or maybe that was the
You're
thing we
like,
sent
you're like
Cisco to
walking around
instead.
in a ship,
Oh yeah,
and then you go play
yeah.
Warzone. I mean, that HoloLens demo was amazing.
It was really good.
And so, like, I could see them maybe
doing something
doing
with that.
something
I don't
like
know.
that, just to bring Halo back into the discussion.
Yeah,
I feel like that was, now thinking about it, that's probably what it's gonna be.
some HoloLens or VR stuff.
Yeah.
Sure, it won't be Steven Spielberg on stage being like,
No.
I don't think so.
Tom Cruise is Master Chief.
The thing is, all the rumors, all the real official statements are saying Halo 6 is not there.
Yeah.
All the rumors and like people that I like trust and that have credible sources, they seem to think it's not going to be there. I still think that there is a good chance we see a CG Halo 6 trailer, but I don't know. Could be wrong. It's not a guarantee, but I do think that there is a chance that we will.
I just want games. I want reasons to play on the Scorpio.
What say you?
I mean, I got to take them at their word, right? They said no.
All right.
I don't think they'll do a Halo 6 thing.
Halo VR.
Let us know in the comments below when you think Halo 6 is going to show up. All right. It's time for the final topic of the show. As always, brought to you by you. You can go to kindoffunny.com/gamescast topic and leave your topic just like these beautiful people did. Joseo says, hey, what games
Hey.
on PC
What up?
should you be playing?
Oh,
Counter-Strike,
Battlegrounds,
Diablo 3,
Black Wake,
World of Warcraft,
Deceit.
probably Hearthstone too if you're into card games, so I'm not. But I know a lot of people are.
Yeah. I mean, Rainbow
Cluster
Six.
Truck.
What's this?
It plays really well on
What's
PC.
this game you and Duggan have been playing a lot lately?
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
So give us the
that
pitch
is
on
the
this.
hotness right
It's
now.
coming to
Yeah.
consoles eventually, but right now
Yeah.
it's in early access on.
Yeah, this
on-
seems to be like
on
all the
Steam.
rage. I don't know anything about
I
it.
mean, it's essentially, if you ever played H1Z1, it's the same premise where it's like, imagine Hunger Games, the game, right? Where you fucking parachute down, you start looking for a gun frantically, right? You're starting to loot up and you're trying to kill everybody and be the last one alive. So like I said, it's if you've played H1Z1, it's just like H1Z1.
What is
but
like the-
on a
Is it like a sci-fi shooter or is it like
No,
a
no, no,
contemporary
it's more
shooter?
grounded,
is it a shooter?
modern.
Third
Yeah.
person, first person?
Both. Yeah. Crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Cool.
so you can like go into third person and like kind of like use that third person camera to like kind of see around, the
Corners
side of
and
a
shit.
tree and corners and stuff like that. And then you can go first person to, ADS and scope down and whatnot.
Huh. Okay.
Or you can go over the shoulder. They give you a variety of things. It's a fun game. It's a slower, more tactical version of H1Z1.
So what other differences are there? Because we had, I guess, Will Smith, not the Will Smith, a different Will Smith.
So holy shit.
Yeah, I was like
on the
getting jiggy with
show
it.
Why
a
were- yeah.
couple weeks ago, and he was pitching us on the game, and I'm super sold. We had a great time with H1Z1. We did a Let's Play one time where it was me, Kevin, and Greg just playing. And have you played H1Z1?
Yeah.
So it's freaking awesome. Where it's
Yeah.
just how many players is
It's not really my type of thing.
150 drop in for H1Z1 and 100 drop in for Battlegrounds.
100. Okay, cool. So you get the 100 people. They're all on this little island. They parachute in,
Yeah.
and then as the match goes on, there's like the areas you're allowed to
there's-
be in get smaller
Yeah,
and smaller.
H1Z1's toxic gas, and in Battlegrounds, it's more of like an electrical field, and it just closes everyone in together. Like the circle gets tinier and tinier until you have nothing but just 10 by 10 to like fight.
And the goal is just to survive.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
The
then
goal is to be the
person
last
survives.
person
Is
alive.
it team based or FFA?
You can do solo, dubs, and you can do squads of 4. Yeah, 4. Looking at the girlfriend. Yeah, 4. And then there's leaderboards, ranking system. The thing about this, and I know a lot of people have put a lot of time into H1Z1. It looks promising, like way more promising than H1Z1. So H1Z1, yeah, H1Z1 like came out and they did their thing, and it was riddled with issues. And then people
that was
were
my
like,
issue with it. It was
"We
just a
need
little too
this.
alpha for me."
We need this fix. We need like region lock or ping lock, and we need less desync." And then they're like, "We have like crates for you guys." And it's like, what the fuck are you guys
Fix
doing,
the
man?
game
Like,
first.
fix the game. Not to say that Battlegrounds doesn't have those similar issues, but every week there's a patch.
Also, yeah, it's early access, right?
It's early access too.
Yeah.
Not an excuse, but fair enough.
I mean, that's a pretty big excuse. It's still in development.
Well, regardless of early access, it's very difficult to have a big ass map with 100 people in it, all doing different things, and have them like sync up 1-to-1 and not have there be desync or all those kind of issues.
It seems like this game is a lot bigger than H1Z1. Like H1Z1 people loved, but this is everywhere now.
It's because it's more competitive when it comes down to it. Because H1Z1, you know, you run around, you jump out of a car, like moving speed and whatnot. And with this game, it's a lot more about getting into a gunfight with each other, and the hit detection's better. And hit detection's like everything when the shooting game. Like you can point blank shotgun someone in H1Z1, and it won't do anything to them. And like the number of clips that you'll have that you just shoot the guy in the face and they don't die. Granted, you get this too in Battlegrounds, but it's on a smaller scale. And you just have more confidence in the development team when they say, hey, these are the issues and these are what we're going to fix. Oh, by the way, we're having weekly updates on like the game, adding new things and trying to fix these issues. And you just have confidence in like, okay, I believe that this is going to end up being a really good finished, polished product further down the line.
Awesome. So besides PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, what other games have you been playing on the PC?
I've been playing this game called Deceit, which is a fucking hilarious game. So you take 6 people, okay? You wake up, I think one of the surroundings is a hospital, right? Everyone wakes up. It's the first person, you shoot and whatnot. Everyone wakes up. 2 of those 6 people are infected. The 4 people are trying to get out alive. Nobody knows who's the infected person.
Does the infected person know they're infected?
The infected people know, and they know who the other infected person is. So they try to work together to screw over everybody. So here's the thing. Yes. So here's the thing, right? So you have people like trying to turn power switches on, right, to get to the next level and whatnot. And I'm like, Sean goes down a corridor, right? Turns on the power switch. I'm sitting there, I'm infected. I'm sitting here like, is anybody looking? Shut that shit right down, right? Say Sean catches me, and Sean's like, Alfredo tried to cut down the power. He's infected. That's where I go, no. I saw Sean do it. Sean did it right in front of me. He's the infected guy. And then there's this whole, like, you try to, like, deceive each other and whatnot. And the cool thing is, like, there's blood bags for the infected. Yeah, because they're creatures, right? So I'll get into it. But there's blood bags everywhere, right? And the goal is to try, as an infected, to try and drink these blood bags to make yourself more powerful. Because every minute, like, when you're running around, the lights are on, you can see everyone's name on top of their head. Every minute, the lights shut out. And you can't see who's who. You can't see names on top of people's like faces or whatnot. That's where the infected turn into the creatures at their will, at their free will, and try to like solo people out and like kill them in a corner somewhere.
Huh.
So
This sounds fucking awesome.
Sounds like a party game.
It's an awesome game because it's really funny because there's all these kinds of different devices and tools. Like there's one device that's a scanner where you literally pick it up and you scan it, it tells you the person's infected or not. But it's one of those things. If I'm infected, Sean's not. He scans me, says I'm infected. Why can't I just bullshit and say Sean's infected?
Yeah.
Or I've had an opportunity where, say, both of us are infected, and you grab the scanner and you scan me, and you're like, oh yeah, Fredo's cool, but we're both infected. We're working together. You know what I'm saying?
I scanned it. It's cool.
It's all about just lying to everybody else.
That sounds really cool.
That sounds great. We got to do a let's play of that.
It's a fun time.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Is there any other games that you'd recommend?
Black Wake has also been a fun game.
Black Wake?
Yes, it's a pirate game. So you get a crew of, I don't know, maybe like 15 people, and you run a ship, right?
You and 15 of your closest friends.
Yeah. You guys run a ship, and you essentially have to take care of, like, everything you have to do with the ship, right? Loading the cannons and whatnot. And you have other people with their ships, and you essentially fight each other, and you just try and sink each other. And I've been doing stuff like just ramming into the other ship, and so you guys have to like duke it out like with guns and muskets and whatnot. So it becomes this whole like I'm not about like naval warfare, but when it comes to like
Put that on a fucking game box. I'm not about naval warfare.
I'm not. But when I'm sitting there and you have people like when you're the captain and you're the one that's choosing where people go. And you're like, all right, load up the right side. And you're like shooting cannons at the other people. And you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna ram into these guys. We're just gonna duke it out. Like it makes for
like
pretty. Yeah. No, it's just like Sea of Thieves, but it's out right now.
Star Trek bridge crew.
So
yeah,
it makes for a good time. So
cool.
yeah, I think
All
between those 3 games, that's a lot of
That's a lot to get
games
into.
to get into.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. Marcus Pat has an interesting question. Is Alfredo's shooter skills declining with age?
Oh, I was actually hoping you'd read this one.
Everyone's shooting skills decline with age.
Yes, 100%. Like, I'll put this up there for both Sean and I. I fully believe that Sean and like our skill levels, like the way we play games, our situational awareness, our reflex skills are really high up there. So yes, they are deteriorating over time, but they're so far up there to begin with that I still am able to be like a part of the top 1% in Rainbow Six. Sean does very well in Counter-Strike, whatnot. But it is declining. Like
LDM?
it is.
LDM.
More and more I have to rely less on my reflexes.
What?
It's his rank.
It's my rank.
It's his rank. I'm a DMG.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see this in esports a lot, right? Like, it's not even just shooters; it's
Yeah.
all competitive games. But like,
StarCraft, like 22, you're too old.
yeah, like a lot of pro players hit their prime at like 18 to 22 around there, and
Yep.
then after that, it starts to go away because you're getting older. Your neural pathways are fully formed. You're not forming new ones. You're not learning new things as fast as you used to, and your reflex skills start to go away. And so it becomes more about playing smarter than the people who have better reflexes than you, which is something we've both done pretty effectively. Yeah. But I do notice more now than I ever have before. I'm 30, where people will just make a shot that I can't make.
I can't believe you're 30.
28.
Yeah, you guys
we're
are getting old
up
too.
there,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm 27.
Whoa.
Speak for yourself, Alfredo.
You're like a month away. Get out of here.
I am, but still.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fits for all.
You
gamers,
definitely
yeah.
rely more on setting up the situation in your favor.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, I'm just gonna run in there and fucking shoot everyone's face off.
Yeah, better strategy, better positioning,
Yeah.
better tactics.
I feel like you hit a point that you get old enough, though, that you just revert back to that. Or at least Nick Scarpino's taught me that.
Revert back to what?
run it
Infantile
in and
status?
shoot
Shoot
Oh.
everyone.
Well, that's
Shoot
because
everyone
when
in
you
the
realize
face.
you can't, no matter what amount of effort or strategy or tactics, you suck anyway. So then you can just go and
I
guns
realized
blazing.
that a long time ago. So I don't even need to worry about
Whatever, dude. You're supposedly, I've never played Halo against you, but you employ special tactics.
I've
in
mastered
Halo.
the flag. I am the flag capturer. No one
I've
can
never,
do it better.
I've said this before, I've never seen someone in a fucking CTF Blood Ghost match sit in the one bush in the back of your base for, I shit you not, a half hour.
Then I fucking
Quote,
struck.
waiting for the right moment to
And
strike.
then it would happen.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. Like, out of nowhere, the flag is gone. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you just see Tim fucking like crouching along the side cliffs and shit.
It's like, yeah, man, I missed that shit.
Master strategies from this man. Although,
stress.
if you shoot at him once, he'll just stand there because he knows
I would-
he
yeah, I
can't,
would
he
just
can't
be
shoot
like,
for
all right,
shit. He'll be like,
jigs
all
up.
right, jigs up, you call me
sit
this
in the bush
time.
again for a while.
Like the fucking Hamburglar, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
Sometimes
funny.
he'll get away with it, and sometimes, but he's always after
I'm always
it.
after that burger. This one comes from Throw7.
Ooh, my man.
No question. I was just hoping you can give him a quick shout out from his Twitch community and let him know that we're proud of him and can't wait to see the things he's working on.
Yes, working on big things.
Big
so
things
I'm
popping
excited.
from Mr.
it's my
Alfredo
Twitch
Plays.
fan, man. I love those guys.
Hell yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find one for good old Sean Burger over here.
It's funny too because they love everybody. Like occasionally Sean will walk in, everyone's like, "Shark FInnegan."
Yeah, I'll pop in every once in a while.
Sean, this is from Mr. Brawl96.
Hey.
And I guess this applies to you as well. Why don't you play COD Zombies? It's very up both of your alleys.
Like I
Also,
said,
how many Toblerones can you eat?
fuck is
Not a big sweets guy.
Yeah, all right,
I
that's
could
sweet.
probably
I'm
eat a
not
whole
into
pack of that, too.
not too big into sweets.
It's like a chocolate candy.
Yeah,
bar,
it's like
right?
that chocolate
Yeah,
and a little
yeah.
like weird ass thing.
Not a big
Some
sweets
caramel
guy.
in there.
And thank God I'm not.
Kevin
because if
says he can take down this many. Could you take it down?
If necessary.
All right,
So-
sorry. Going back to it. COD Zombies.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a big zombies guy, even back in. Did they have zombies in Modern Warfare 2? I don't even know if they did.
Not two,
Yeah.
right?
Wasn't it World at War that introduced
Yeah,
them?
World at
I'm
War.
totally
Yeah.
speaking
It was
out
World at
loud
War.
here. I don't know, but I
No.
think
So-
that's right.
I'm pretty sure it was World at War.
You know who we need? We need Bobby Amos up in
Bobby
here. He'd be
Amos.
able to tell us.
Bobby.
Yeah, I loved Modern Warfare 1 and I loved Modern Warfare 2, but then like in games after that, it got kind of away from what I felt made Call of Duty super special as a competitive shooter. It kind of became more about the gaminess of it, like kill streaks and care packages and
Yeah.
loadouts and prestiges, and it got away from the gun skill and
God.
became more of a cool, like a Twitch shooter. And this is not really my type of game. And
When
so
I had to
just
sit inside
never
and
really got
wait
into
for
zombies
bombs
either.
to stop dropping, I was like,
Yeah.
what? Where's the gun
Or people are like, look at I dropped
Yeah.
35 kills, and I was like, that helicopter killed 15 of them. Is that your skill too?
the
Like-
reason why I don't play zombies, and I respect the shit out of zombies, because when it comes to like doing zombies and stuff, they have some really cool Easter eggs and shit to work towards that the community tries to like piece together. I just got really fatigued really quickly with the whole like horde mode.
Yeah.
Because I played this shit ton of horde mode with like Gears, and then I did the whole fire team for Halo, and after that I was like,
Firefight, yeah.
firefight, and after that I was like, I'm good on
Yeah.
anything like horde mode coming after me.
And that's
right
the thing
now.
is like, I guess and again, I never really got into Call of Duty Zombies enough to really know the ins and outs of it, but it just didn't seem like on its surface level like it was as strategy oriented as I hoped it would be from
Oh, there's
coming.
a lot of strategy.
No, but you know how like in Gears, like horde mode is about you're not just killing things and trying to survive waves, but you're also building up your base tactically and employing a strategy with your team.
Well, with zombies, you're trying to use your economy wisely.
Yeah, so are you doing that shit? Like, you're building traps and like upgrading your base?
Yeah, there's traps and upgrades, and then after that, like it's like, okay, round one, like I should knife because I won't use my pistol
because,
and
like-
whatnot. Trust me, I totally get where you're coming from, because when I was first introduced into zombies, I was just like, this just like
Killing zombies,
yeah,
yeah.
just killing zombies.
Yeah, like a good firefight or good horde mode is kind of like a tower defense.
Yeah.
Like,
no, for sure.
you have to employ good tower defense.
They
in order
have
to
it. Trust me,
deal with
it's
the
definitely
waves,
about
yeah.
that. But I get what you're saying. Like you and I stepped away like way before that was
Exactly,
like
yeah.
a super.
And I just never, again, because I have limited time nowadays, it's rare I get into something new if it's already been established.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Gamescast.
Well,
Thank you very
shit.
much for joining us. This was a damn good episode.
I had
It's a
fun.
much different
I had a lot of
vibe than we
fun.
normally have. I'd say
I
it was
had
more
fun with
informative.
it.
You guys definitely know your shit. I appreciate that. Thank
Thanks,
you for
man.
joining
Thank you.
me on this illustrious show.
Thank you for
You
having
can
me.
find Sean the Shark Finnegan, chomp, over at Shot by Finnegan on Twitter.
Yes.
Or on IGN, where you can find him doing his daily content and all that stuff.
Yeah, check out Fireteam Chat if you're a Destiny fan. I'm always happy to talk to people about Halo, so hit me up.
And then Alfredo Plays over there, at Alfredo Plays everywhere.
Yep. And then twitch.tv/Alfredo Plays, where I just stream every single day.
Yeah, you can watch him wreck motherfuckers.
Yeah, shoot things in the face.
Till next time, I love you.
Later.
Hey, what's up? Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, you can click right there to subscribe to Kind of Funny Games. If you want some stuff that's not video game related, bam, click over there, subscribe to Kind of Funny. If you want to support us monetarily, I'd appreciate it. Click right there. And click right here for some fun Kevin nudes. Maybe.
No.